Hello, my name is Dan Johnson, and welcome back to the Who podcast. Will, they're back. They're
Hello.
back. They're back.
Who's back?
The
Who's back?
Vlinx. The Vlinx is back.
Oh, can I just? We will talk about the other episodes, but can I just say one thing first?
Yes.
Sack Russell T Davis, sack Jane Tranter, sack Phil Collinson, sack Julie Gardner.
Exactly. You've got some feelings of the finale then.
Have indeed.
I think that when we were sort of planning this episode, we did say to each other, if we sort of do the first two quite quickly and then sort of get onto the finale and stuff like that, because I think we could easily spend a good hour just talking about that, couldn't we?
Well, yeah, because we were talking. I was like, you were like, we need to do the pod, and I was like, you were like, so we'll start on the other three, and I was like, Dan, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't care about the other three. I cannot sit down and talk about how the story in the engine was an okay story, bit confusing, but on second viewing, still quite confusing, but less confusing. All good. Joe Martin's back. Okay, right. That's that one. That's my story in the engine review. 6 out of 10.
For story in the engine, my very simple review is a very wordy script that kind of loses me a little bit. Overall, a lot of fun in the climax and some nice character work.
Yeah.
Belinda is massively sidelined. The fugitive.
Oh, that's going to become a quite a common subject. Like Belinda being sidelined.
The fugitive doctor is there for fan service and homage, but really has no actual bearing on the episode.
But still had a confusing thing of a story that's yet to be completed, but she's before the 15th, but whatever.
Giving us a nice little tease of something that will never happen. And then
Big finish.
For me, I think this is one of Ncuti's best. The culture of it and everything like that is so personal to Ncuti that I think it just works really well. You can feel this passion for it in the episode. I've given that an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. Okay, so 6 out of 10. What was after that?
The Interstellar Song Contest.
Very good. Very enjoyed it. Juno Dawson should be a reoccurring writer. She just gets Doctor Who. It was a very good episode. 7.5 out of 10.
I thought it was a little bit corporate-y and a little bit. What I didn't like, which I'm sure you've already seen, is that
we had this debate when it first come out, and your review of it on YouTube. I don't know if anyone actually watches them. It was like, oh, I wish we knew why they weren't, even though we were told why. But we're not in. Can we just get on to the fucking finale?
No. I'm teasing you.
Right. Okay.
But there's also the bit of.
Me.
There's also the bit. Stop talking. There's also the bit of Ncuti sort of turning dark in the last 10 minutes, and then it having no consequences.
I like that. What I don't like is by generation. Can we get on to the finale?
So you quite like that the Doctor goes dark, and then like not even Belinda questions.
Yep. Although, actually, hold on, thinking about it now, there was one key thing that was set up in this story that just went absolutely fucking nowhere. But at the time, it was very interesting.
What could that possibly be?
Could it be somebody came in for just a very few flashes of the, like, oh, find me, Doctor, and then if you watch Unleashed, she's doing an interview in a separate costume. So you're like, there's got to be more. But however, she's just not fucking right. We're not there yet.
But I do think that with the Susan thing, this was that when they filmed it, the intention was there. And it was kind of too late to remove it.
Right, now that's not my issue. No, that's not my issue. That's not. If by the time they've run the reshoots and realise they're not showing Susan in the finale, put Susan. We'll stop.
But I think. But what would you have?
Why have it? Why
would you have the Doctor just wake up?
Easily just woken up in space.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
Belinda. Yeah, he's done it before. You didn't need that someone. Or you got her into fucking film, Billy Piper.
I mean, I would really hate it if it was Billy Piper, but the
Well, that's all right, Dan. You've got a that's a funny one that you'd hate if it's Billy Piper. Well, just you fucking wait.
No,
Just
have you
fucking
read
wait.
the original ending for the season? Or
Well, I've not read
speculative,
it, but it was
speculative.
leaked
Yeah,
it was leaked on Reddit. How there was going to be woohoo! It's May 24th. They all went out clubbing.
Yeah.
That's where, because it's even in the fucking trailer, them clubbing.
no, it was a promotional image, was it? Not in the trailer.
It was in a Disney Plus trailer.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, the actual footage of it, not just this photo that appeared on Disney Plus.
Yeah. So the photo was released, but there was a footage of it for a trailer, like through one of the, the Disney Plus sometimes have separate trailers to BBC.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in the Disney Plus trailer. And then it was going to overpan, and it was going to have Susan looking over it, and she would have been in season 3.
Yes.
But that's fine. But you don't have a season 3 with that Doctor, so cut that. You don't know the future of Doctor Who. We'll get onto it. We'll get onto it. Personally, cut Susan.
You would. I don't mind her being in it because I think you can just pick it up with a different Doctor.
Yeah, but you don't mind her being in it. But it's leading up to something that is never going to be answered.
There's always going to be that element of disappointment.
Why did I see Susan? We won't fucking know because the Doctor's gone. Like, if you're going to have her, get rid of them lines so it's just like. So actually, he just flashes her. Not flashes her. Like a flash of her shows up, and that's why he has to. Don't make this whole find me, come where like, why am I seeing her? I'm the last of the Time Lords. If that's not go.
I don't think it would be as bad if they didn't keep using the line that he's the last of the Time Lords. I mean, Susan's not technically a Time Lord.
Well, if you want to, just you wait. If you're not a fan of someone who's technically a Time Lord, but the Doctor will go to the end of the universe for, well, just you wait until the fucking finale when a fucking baby. Anyway,
you what you didn't do there was listen to what I said before you went on that ramble.
No, because let's just get to right.
So
Susan
give me
is completely cut from the finale.
Yes.
Put her from the season, whatever.
Okay. No, yeah, I can see.
It'd be shit.
Yeah.
It'd be shit, but it's not going to lead to questions of, well, where the fuck was Susan?
Yeah. I think it goes on that thing of, like, your expectations versus what actually happened. Because, like, that was probably the original plan.
Yeah, because
obviously
we
with
were
her not being in there. Yeah.
to see Susan.
Or at least, even in a small amount, there was that expectation that she'd be there. And like you say, with that costume, you expect there to be something.
We know stuff was cut. So if you've had to cut Susan, get her completely gone from the series. She wouldn't have impacted anything. She would have maybe made it a little bit more better because the whole question of, well, where was Susan, wouldn't be a thing.
Okay.
Anyway.
Do you want to give me a rating for the Interstellar Song contest, and we'll talk about
7.5 out of 10. Good Doctor Who story.
So I've gone with 6.5. I just think that there's just something about it just doesn't sit right with me. Like maybe it's just not my kind of episode.
It's generic run of the mill Doctor Who. I don't see what there's not to like about it.
But I just feel like with the whole Eurovision thing, it's like too close to reality. And
well, it's not Eurovision. It's the Intergalactic Song
obviously,
Contest.
it feels like a PR stunt. Oh, we've done a Eurovision Doctor Who special that goes in front of Eurovision. You know?
Yeah.
And it's that I think, and it's also I think this is the episode when people's sort of opinions of the series and where it was going sort of did change, because a lot of people kind of went, oh, actually, if they're doing this thing with the Rani, like, she bioregenerated, but how did that happen? Will we get answers to these questions?
Oh, yeah, okay, right. Let's
and that's where the questions came in. Yeah.
Let's quickly talk about biogeneration.
Yes.
The genuine... hold on.
What do I think of biogeneration?
Sack Russell T Davies.
Yeah, I mean, I don't...
It's why. Why is it a thing? I mean, I thought they kind of explained it, but then they also didn't explain it, but they could have explained it quite easily.
Yes.
But the thing is, right, what I'm fed up with is Russell lying, telling us that yes, bi-generation will be answered in this series. Well, it's fucking not.
Well, it is, but it's probably not
it's not
result we thought.
When was bi-generation? Why it happened? Well, why was it mentioned? What?
There's a moment when the Doctor theorizes that bi-generation is like a survival instinct of a Time Lord in order to try and
because they're sterile.
Yes, and it's sort of like
But hold on, here's another thing: the Dewan Master with a genetic bomb, is that what made them sterile?
I believe so. Yeah, that's my understanding that it happened.
So
in series 12.
Hold on. So instead of what we all thought was, he genetically bombed and killed the Time Lords.
Yeah.
He actually went around and genetically chopped off their dicks and sewed up their vaginas.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. That's just...
Okay, he made them so they couldn't have sex.
No, he made them sterile. That's different.
Yes, they can't have... Okay, so
no, they can have
reproduce.
sex, it's just they can't reproduce. You need a biology lesson.
No, because it's so silly. I accepted the fact that he blew up the Time Lord with a genetic bomb. And that was quite cool. But now you're telling me the genetic bomb didn't just kill the Time Lord instantly. It made the PPs not work.
Well, yeah. But only
and
for...
now you're saying, hold on. Now you're saying that bi-generation happened as the Time Lords evolving, right? So they can have kids.
Yeah.
But I thought it was an ancient myth, and this Time Lord thing happened quite recently. So what is it, Russell?
Is
it an ancient myth? Or is it the Time Lords evolving? What is it?
I did find...
I don't even think he knows.
He's still going.
No, because it's just, he doesn't know anything. He just writes things down and goes, this will be brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But he just forgot about the shit he wrote.
Like you said, there's that contradictory there, but I also find that it's weird that, well, the Rani wasn't on Gallifrey, presumably, and neither was the Doctor, so why would the Doctor be sterile? Because it wasn't a genetic bomb that affected everything. It was
Gallifrey.
It was on Gallifrey.
He set it off on Gallifrey, exactly. And also, and I don't mean to be this person, you're telling me whilst this whole Wish World was happening, there was a 14th Doctor just kicking about.
It always is going to be like that.
It will be. It's one of those things where it's like, just please, like, forget about it. But Russell wrote himself into that corner.
Just because you wanted him to have a little retirement, blah, 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 and Will shoot some moles, which is a bit fucking weird. Like,
Do you think, like, as presumably as it continues, do you think even, like, in the next series and so on, basically as long as we decide is a livable time for him to be around, do you think it's always going to be a thing of, like, well, the 14th Doctor's there somewhere?
Yeah.
And I think
like, it won't be us fans taking it seriously, but it'll be a running joke of, well, where's the 14th Doctor? All this.
Yeah, like it's a bit like when like a superhero has a solo film, and then everyone's like, well, where are the Avengers when like Mysterio was like about to kill everyone in Shield, and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's just one of those things that you just kind of have to sort of sit with. It doesn't bother me a massive amount because you have it with superhero films and stuff like that. It's like, oh, it's just another one of them.
No, I know, but that's why it's just a shit idea. Our generation was a shit idea.
Oh no, I mean, I hope that that's the end of it.
What was wrong with a regeneration? I don't get why writers think they have to change the show. Just write the show.
They've all done that, though. They have all done that. I do think it needs to stay away from its lore, though, because really, if I was let's say I was like 12, and if you're bringing up Omega and Rani and all this Time Lord lore, at one point I thought they were going to bring up looms. Like, when they're talking about that, I thought they were talking about looms. But I actually said it out loud, and Lauren looked at me like, what?
This is what I mean. Right, we're on to the finale now. I really liked the John Smith stuff. That was very cool. It was nice seeing how the Dow Jonathan Groff looked absolutely awful.
There's too much feathering in that shot. When I watched it the first time, I didn't think it was that bad. And then when you see it like 100 times on Twitter, you notice that, oh, you're like, actually, yeah, you have kind of removed half his shoulder there.
I like Conrad's World. I like the John Smith stuff.
Yeah.
But
are you just talking about Wishworld? Is it just
yeah.
you're doing them individually? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because we'll get on. Well, because the whole story itself stops 20 minutes into. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then it's a whole new fucking poppy.
It becomes the reshoots.
It becomes we'll talk about the reshoots as well because it is obvious.
So as we're talking about Wishworld, Will, what's your opinions on Miss Flood and, of course, the Rani?
Anita Dobson should have stayed the Rani.
Mm-hmm.
No offense to Archie Punjabi. Is that her name?
Archie Punjabi, yeah.
Yeah, no offense to her. She did an all right job, but Anita Dobson is so much better.
I think it's just because what I didn't like about it.
Sorry, I just want to talk about something, and I'm going to put this out there.
You love talking. Yeah, what about it?
Yeah, I am, because after the season 2 finale, we went back and watched season 1 finale to see how bad really is it.
Yes.
Anyway, that was a mistake. But I don't think Mrs. Flood, when she was written in originally, I genuinely do not think Russell wrote her down in the Church of Ruby Road to end up being the Rani. Same with end of season 1. I don't think she was ever meant to be the Rani.
I feel like she was by the stage of Empire of Death, but definitely in Church and Ruby Road.
No, I don't think, because
I think it was one of those things. He was like, "This would be a good idea," so put it in, and thought, "I'll work out the rest of it later." It feels that
like Moffat did that. Like the Moffat, it feels like Russell is writing like Moffat. He's got so much going on running the show that he hasn't got time for writing. So he comes up with this great idea of this mysterious character who breaks the fourth wall, which we don't get answers about. And then he just like, oh, I'll come up with it along the way. Just like how Moffat was like, oh, the Doctor dies. But he doesn't know, do you know what I mean? He comes up with it whilst writing.
He's like, I'll write
script.
myself out of that hole in a bit. Once he's come up with that
Same with
idea,
Russell. I like rewatching Empire of Death and Legend of Ruby Sunday. I just can't. She wasn't giving Rani vibes.
No, but so obviously the Rani thing is interesting though, because I feel like when we talk about Mrs. Flood not originally being the Rani, and then I think he was definitely in two minds, but then they bring in somebody that probably resembles more of what the Rani would look like as a modern take.
Exactly. I think that Mrs. Flood was always meant to be, or not always meant to be, but she was. If the Rani wasn't a thing, she would have been a god, like a god of.
Like, the god of stories, or something like that we talked about last time, yeah.
Which is mentioned in Empire of Death.
Yeah.
Same with. This is what I also mean about same with. Like, the Russell, I feel like Russell kind of wrote series 1 and season 2 back to back.
He did. They were all commissioned as one, and they were practically filmed. They were practically filmed like back to back.
Exactly. So this is what I also don't understand. And you can call me, but why is there no setup for anything in season 2? When Harriet, because literally because we watched it the other day, thought we could have set some up. They could have set some up here.
Yeah.
When Harriet Arbinger's going there is Maestro, the god of music. There's blah blah, the god of da da da, and Sutek, the god. Why doesn't she just say Desiderium, the god of wishes?
Yeah.
Just set something up.
Yeah.
So it's not so. like say on there's blah blah blah, the god of light, because Russell would have already had an idea of what he was going to write for the next episode, for the next season.
Yeah.
So just if you want to make the Pantheon a thing, make the Pantheon a thing, and not just see like every episode like, oh, there's a new god now that we've known nothing about.
As we're sort of talking about it, I find it interesting with this that it feels like they want you to pay attention, like close attention to every detail. Like in the giggle when they say that they're using triad. And then at the same time, they kind of are like, just turn your brain off for this bit. Like, don't think about this bit too hard. Because if you do, it collapses, like the signpost or whatever.
Speaking of turning your brain off, the amount of fucking unnecessary flashbacks in the finale.
Yes.
Oh, literally, flashbacks to the same episode.
Yeah.
My daughter, Poppy.
And then they show Poppy. Yeah.
It was 20 minutes ago.
I think they were a bit worried that the first part was so complex that people wouldn't come back to part 2 because it's like so talky. They thought, well, what if people forget what happened? So they come back to it.
So please come back. We have a CGI dead fetus to show you in part 2.
I also...
What we're going to say is Omega. He's...
Oh, I would like to talk about one thing before we actually move on to part 2. In Interstellar Song Contest, right, at the end of that episode, the TARDIS explodes.
God. Yes. What? Yes.
And after that, you're kind of like, okay, so there must be a thing with the TARDIS. There's even a bit when in part 2 when they cut to the Rani saying, do you know what happened to your TARDIS or where your TARDIS is?
No, that exactly. We did not need that.
And then I feel like there was definitely a scene cut which involved the TARDIS, but I did hear a beautiful theory.
Why it blew up?
Not why it blew up, but where it actually is. Because just Ruby ends up in the TARDIS in part 2. And it's like, oh, I'm here now. Hang on, what happened? What about, like, you know, what thing were they alluding to? Because it just shows up when it needs to.
Also, why did the TARDIS blow up? I thought we were going to get, like, a flashback at the start of episode 2.
Yeah.
Of, like, what actually happened to set it up.
Or even in dialogue, yeah. But no, I did hear an interesting theory earlier today. I can't remember where it was. That said,
I'm done with theories, especially with the current state of the show. So sorry, go on and go for it.
Well, it was just the idea. I think that this is what cope is. We're going to get to some cope later on, but I think this is cope of trying to explain things that they just missed, like over accentuating everything. Yeah, just trying to correct things yourself in your own head so that you feel like you had a more more connected story.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that the TARDIS is actually linked to the Bone Palace that the Rani has. And that, because it starts sort of disappearing and then it becomes back. And I've forgotten, they explained it far better than that, but it was linked to the Bone Palace. And that's how, because it was like a fixed point, like a TARDIS would be. Rani's not got a TARDIS, she's got a time ring, so would need the Doctor's TARDIS to do something like that.
Should have had a TARDIS.
Yeah. So it's one of those sort of things. You could easily turn the Bone Palace into the Rani's TARDIS. It doesn't matter.
I see the code.
Yeah, you can kind of see, because obviously if they intended to do that, they would have mentioned it. But obviously didn't.
Right. So yeah, Which World? It was really good. It set up something that could have gone well.
Mm-hmm.
However, we know how it ended. Shall we do an episode breakdown of what's it called?
The Reality War. It was like 3 days ago. Well.
No, I was about to say Empire of Death because it's the last I watched.
Yeah, we can do a rough breakdown.
Episode breakdown. Okay, so we start off with the Doctor falling, going, Rani, my daughter. And the second I thought, oh fuck, here we go, was when the shitty hotel door opened.
Mm.
I just thought, I mean, look, it was really nice to see Anita back.
Yeah.
She was the only good thing to come from Joy to the World. That episode is dog shit. But, you know, it's just like, oh, for goodness sake. Yeah.
I liked that because it also was tying in Joy to the World, which would feel very disconnected otherwise. Because obviously there's no Belinda, there's no Ruby, and because this second series has been so much on an arc and, you know, connected to one another, that I thought it was nice to bring Joy to the World actually into the series, because you kind of forget it happened.
Voyage of the Damned.
Although I do, yeah, but that's also that stands on its own in a very different way, because it's a one-off
So why
companion.
can't Joy to the World?
Because it isn't strong enough. Because it doesn't tell its own story.
Because it's a shit episode.
Yes, I was the one that hated more on
no.
Joy to the World last time than you did.
No, I'd never liked Joy to the World.
You didn't mind it as much last time. I can't remember what you gave it, but I was like,
no, you didn't like the COVID thing, but the episode itself was just.
I think that having that connective tissue is something I quite like, basically. And it sort of nicely brings everything in. Although having Anita just hold the door open for like 30 minutes was really weird.
It was funny. It was funny, but at what point does the just go block it open with a chair?
I would have the same thought.
Something.
I thought like maybe she can do something.
Her occasional line of "Oh, I'm just in the hotel business." That was quite funny. It got a chuckle, but yeah. At what point do you not just go? Morris. Oh no, Morris wasn't in this one.
No. I think Morris may have died. Where is Morris?
Wheel a chair, prop it open, grab a doorstop, and just get on the turret.
Yeah, exactly. Just. I mean, she probably wouldn't be very useful with that, but I feel like there's something she could do.
So what actually happened? So what happens? Right. So we're skipping ahead. So she.
Well, hang on. I got it in my head.
Opens the door. He opens the door into the Time Hotel.
Yeah.
And then Anita is saying that she looks for the Doctor on her days off. And we get some very cool. We get our first shot of a Dalek in Disney Who.
Yes. Yeah. Wow, you sounded really weird. Then the audio went really weird.
Got a first shot of the Dalek. Yes.
Yeah.
Although we got an awful body double John Pertwee. Don't know what that was.
That was John Pertwee. That was actually John Pertwee.
No, the dummy. Did you see the dummy from far away?
No, I didn't notice that.
In the wide shot.
No.
Anyway, that she goes looking for the Doctor and sees the Doctor with Rogue, and then she's like, "Oh, he's gay."
Yes.
Now I'm allowed to say this. No shit.
Was your gaydar going off?
No, seriously, Anita, you lived with that man for a year, and that whole time you thought, yeah, he's straight.
While he was doing his skincare.
Hey, darling, high kicks, saying slay. Like, you really thought, yeah, that's a straight man.
She was like, I had a chance with him, yeah.
Come on, he's so obviously gay. Or queer.
I think the next bit that's probably worth talking about is when everyone in UNIT gets woken up, and the way it tries to sort of make a UNIT family. Yeah. Obviously, we've got Rose, which...
No. Please don't mention the word family and UNIT, because it just reminds you of one of the worst lines of Doctor Who ever. In a way, I think we're all your children.
I was waiting for you to say it. Yes. No, again, it is...
we're all your children.
It's like, and then they cut around. It's when they cut round to everyone, and you're like, what, even that one? I thought that the sort of set piece of the Doctor and the sort of the plan that they had with this UNIT family of flying around and sort of going their separate ways was quite good. Would you agree with that? I'm so upset that I didn't get to see this in the cinema, though, because I think it would have been quite cool.
Oh, I'm not.
That bit when he goes away.
Oh my God, I'm not.
On the bike.
It looked a bit Harry Pottery, didn't it, when he was flying around?
I mean, it's obviously a CG double, but like I don't care. It was
really?
fun. It was camp.
Was it?
No,
It was camp.
I thought that was really the Doctor. Who
It looks good when it shows him, but it obviously with the CGI
Yes.
job not so much. But I liked that bit. I thought that bit was good, and I felt like really excited of what was going to happen. I think that then my opinion of it did go down slightly downhill, and I think which is our next key moment, which is Omega.
Why was he needed?
Yeah, I think we're kind of on the same page here, really.
He wasn't needed. He was on the screen for 3 minutes because the official Doctor Who YouTube channel
I did see
has
this.
put up the entire screen time of Omega, and it is 3 minutes 21. Although that is including the don't
so
forget to click
probably
below
about
to subscribe. To the
so
official.
probably about 3 minutes 10 seconds then.
Yeah, just under 3 minutes screen time of Omega.
Yeah.
This is another thing. Is it Omega or Omega or Omega? Or do you know what I mean? It's all over the place today.
Omega.
Right, and then Ncuti sometimes goes to Omega.
He does call him Omega. I have noticed even in this script they kind of refer to him different ways.
And Russell, who is most likely on set all the fucking time, not just
I don't think he's on it all the time, but yeah.
Or someone just go, guys, it's Omega. Can we all just get this pronunciation correct? It's Omega.
But is it like Master and Master?
Omega.
Is it a very similar way of pronouncing it, like Master and Master?
No, because that's a name. Omega is a name. Master and Master is pronunciation.
Yes, but I don't really care if they keep mispronouncing his name. It's more of a question of why he was here.
Again, it's a pet peeve. Yeah, why was he there?
I mean, would it have been okay with you if this was just like some sort of demon from the pit or something like that?
Do you know what I felt would have been a lot better
if
we didn't actually see Omega?
I feel like we had to.
No, but why? I think it would have been a lot better if he was this celestial form.
Right,
because he's been in the Underverse for so long. Like, why did he have to be a CGI dead fetus?
Do you think that the budget was quite restricted in the fact that we can't go in there?
No, I'm not bothered about that. But it would just be nice if we just heard the voice, or something. We could have heard the voice, and the Doctor would have just gone, "You're stupid" to the Rani, and she'd gone, "No." And then let's say Anita Dobson. This is another thing. We all suspected, and I know it's not going to go. Yeah, but isn't it good that it didn't happen because we thought that was going to happen?
Yeah.
We all thought, oh no, like Mrs. Ruddle will like sabotage the Rani and become the Rani or something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We thought she was going to do something.
Definitely.
Because they were setting her up of, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. When the whole in Wish World, like, oh, some sandwiches, I'll show you, blah, blah, blah. There was something like that line, wasn't there? Like, I'll show you or something.
And I think it goes back to the idea that we had like with the TARDIS when we were talking about it earlier. And I think it's that thing of like when we rewatch Wish World, we're like, so these are in here for what reason then? Are they jokes now? Like, why is she submissive to the other Rani? And why is there a conflict there when she's making that sandwich? And they don't do anything with it.
Exactly. But then this has been what you've just said there. They don't do anything with it. Is how I would sum up Ncuti's run of Doctor Who.
Breadcrumbs.
That's nothing against him. Russell. No, it's Russell. He doesn't sum up anything. He's got so many loose ends still. Like, how can I know he's like, yes, Doctor Who will come back, and Doctor Who will come back under a BBC budget because I will laugh in Disney's face if they renew it.
I'd be very shocked.
Oh.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I think Doctor Who has become a show for its fans, like directly its fans, and I don't think it's as popular
like Star Wars.
Yeah, and I don't
like
think but I don't think it's as popular as Star Wars is abroad. Because like I think Star Wars is more worldwide, and I think Doctor Who is a bit more niche.
A British show.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously it's popular in different countries, but I think that its main source is here. I mean, trust I don't know how well it's done in Disney Plus and where has been the most popular country for it. To be honest, but could we talk about one thing that does
America.
sort of annoy me? But well, like I like it, but it does annoy me.
The Rani being eaten.
No and yes to that. So I
Okay.
suppose it also applies. It wasn't the thing I was going for.
It's just like this is meant to be the big bad. Like this is the master in the Last of the Time Lord Sound of Drums. Like this is what they're and you just have them eaten by a CGI fetus.
Like I feel like it makes sense for Rani to be defeated by her own sort of thirst for power or thirst for that sort of creation, and her being killed by Omega makes sense, doesn't it? Like you wouldn't be mad if that was on paper the ending.
I would be.
Really? I feel like if she, I feel like that's the best way to get rid of the Rani in the story is to have her be.
But hold on, can we just? What was the reasoning for Omega? Was like, I've become the god of time. I'm going to eat Time Lord.
Yeah, I think something like that. Yeah.
B50 fun.
I think she tries to stop him. She tries to stop him, Omega coming through, and then that means that she gets eaten. I don't mind it as much as you do by the sound of it.
No, it's just the whole episode. It's just a whole fucking everything up until. We forgot to mention something first before he went to go to the Rani.
What? What's that?
We forgot to mention something. Belinda, get in the cupboard for the episode.
Well, we, like the episode, forgot about Belinda.
Belinda.
Yeah,
get in the cupboard.
I feel like we can wrap up Belinda later on, though, at the end.
Yeah, no, because I've got a lot to say about Belinda.
Yeah, I feel like we should do that a bit later on. But going back to...
no, definitely.
But obviously, the Rani thing we kind of disagree on, where I'm like, it's fine on paper, but I see what you mean. The thing
I mean, honestly, this is the least of this episode's worries.
Yeah, like, I think that if that was, an issue by itself, then in an episode that I think you enjoyed more, then I don't think you'd mind.
I think it would have worked more if then Omega was the big bad. Like, it was like, oh, I'm more bigger than you because I'll get rid of this big bad.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think that's what its intention is, yeah.
But then it's not, it's like, oh, I'm going to shoot you now. You're dead.
This was the thing I was going towards, because I have a very similar opinion on this to the Rani thing, where I'm like, yeah, I like it, but no, like, I don't really care if you get rid of the bad guy in, like, 2 minutes, because I think that if he's not the Omega, and he is just some demon, if he's, Omega, and he's just some demon or something, then I think that it's fine but then adding that name to it makes you excited of what it's going to be.
Like if he wasn't actually Omega and it was like the spawn
or the hand of Omega would probably make more sense. But yeah, like if it was a device rather than an actual, like,
if it was
the
Omega
character
from Arc of Infinity, that would have been...
I know, what the hell? What is Arc of Infinity?
I watched
it's
that,
mental.
Ready for Omega. I thought, oh my god, it's awful.
But this is the thing, like, the design for the Three Doctors is really iconic.
I really like the Three Doctors.
And then the Omega design in Arc of Infinity is mental.
He looks like he's dumped his head in a fucking...
He looks like a sweet.
He looks like a sweet, yeah.
But like I don't.
I would much have rather instead of Omega come out, it was Peter Davison with his face covered in Rice Krispies. That would have been so much better.
It's just David Tennant again.
It's David Tennant.
He's like, it's me. Oh, for God's sake! I've regenerated.
I regenerated again,
and I chose a form that was popular.
I chose a form to save the show.
But what I was gonna say is that I don't mind that, but by adding that name to it, you kind of change what it needs to be. Then it needs to be something bigger. But then the Doctor,
we're never gonna see Omega again.
He is finished now for a while, because I think you've like
forever. I think
you
can't bring him back.
You've blown it a bit too early,
unless it's for like a 100th anniversary.
Wow.
bring
Okay,
it.
we'll be dead, but go for it. Well, I'm not.
No, we
No, we
won't.
won't. Sorry, I thought for some reason I thought we were in 2013. I went 50. I forgot about the 60th.
100th anniversary of the revival.
Yeah. So
Well, the revival might be over.
so
but
in
we'll
80
talk about
years. But with that, like I feel like you have to do that to it, and it kind of has ruined Omega a little bit. And hopefully he will come back one day and be like this powerhouse that he was in the Three Doctors.
In the 100th anniversary.
In the 100th anniversary. But I do think that the Doctor pulling out the gun, which is essentially a gun.
This is after Russell said, I'm going to change the Doctor's sonic screwdriver because it looks like a gun.
Because it resembles
and
a
I
gun.
don't like guns.
Yeah.
And then made the Doctor get rid of Omega with a gun.
You could arguably say it's a scientific instrument.
Sorry, it's an indicator. It's a fucking gun.
But yeah, it looks exactly like a gun. He's holding it like a gun.
He's using it
It's
like
not.
a gun. He's screaming, ah!
It looks like a gun.
Like, once again, it's one of those things that I wouldn't mind if it was a small part. If this was one issue in a really good episode, but I think it's just like a connection of things. I mean, I will still go out and say that I liked the episode and I enjoyed watching it each time that I've seen it. I still like it. I mean, obviously you wouldn't, and I understand it has issues, but it's kind of like a guilty pleasure now.
So do you just think that Russell hasn't really evolved in his writing of Doctor Who? He still thinks Doctor Who should be like 2005.
I think, well, having like listened to a little bit on like his writing process, he is a very slow writer. And everything he does seems to take a long time, and he will sort of put things down and have to think about it for ages and ages, on how he was going to get out of certain issues and whatever it might be. And I think that with this turnaround from 3 episodes of the specials, Church on Ruby Road, season 1, Joy to the World, and season 2, essentially being in production, writing at the same time, I think that you kind of have a little bit of a slapdash approach.
Wait, Poppy. Can we talk about Poppy?
Yeah, you want to talk about Poppy? Hit me with Poppy.
Did you care about her one bit?
In a sort of, where is this going to go? Because I'm invested in Doctor Who in general, yes. Whether I care about a child that doesn't have any lines, not so much.
Don't get me wrong. She's cute. She's a lovely child.
Yeah.
This is why I also think it was meant to be Ruby, because then it would have linked in like, oh, so why is this baby that we first see return? Do you know what I mean?
It would have then connected a little bit more to that, yeah. But I mean, I don't mind the the Poppy stuff a huge amount, because I think in my headcanon, which obviously I have convinced myself is real, is that Poppy is actually the Doctor's daughter.
Yeah, but Dan, I saw your review. I think there's doubt in his face.
Yeah.
We're told he's human.
But I just don't
she's
believe
human.
that. I feel like it's
Why would the Doctor lie to himself?
Because there's that moment.
Belinda wasn't even in the room.
Because I think it's one of those things where it's like, I've got to keep this kid safe, and by saying that she's the first Time Lord in so many years, and that she will be the last Time Lord child, would put her in danger.
Right. That's fine in your head canon. That's fine. What's the official canon?
The official canon is that she's human. Yeah, that's exactly what the episode says. But there's just something about it that doesn't sit right with me. That she has to be.
There's a lot
else.
about the episode that doesn't sit right with me.
Because then it would lead to her being, like the mother of Susan and like timey-wimey shit or whatever. Then that would lead to the granddaughter.
Poppy was going to be a big thing in series 3,
right?
Season 3, and like it would have ended season 2 of Let's Go Find Poppy.
Really? Because there is that scene when the Doctor does wink at Ruby, when she's remembering, because there's also the element of why does Ruby
and I
remember?
thought that was him. Exactly, and I think that was him gonna go. Well, what would have made more sense is like, no, you're right, but I can't do this to Belinda. Do you know what I mean?
But obviously that would mean that they'd have to be alone, not in a TARDIS that doesn't have any sound that can hide that conversation. But
yeah,
yes.
I wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan of them playing Happy Families either, because that's just not Belinda. Belinda wants to get home.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with that too. If we go back to Ruby, like her sort of plot sort of ended with the Conrad, and it was been quite a nice little arc over the series, I suppose. You know, it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
And with the baby then being passed on as a foundling, like the Doctor and like Ruby, brings it nicely into full circle. And then you could also say
Joseph.
you could also say that the idea of the Poppy and going to rescue Poppy, which leads to the regeneration, also brings it full circle to Church on Ruby Road when the Doctor saves Ruby. I think that it's also interesting because you kind of see the blending of reshoots and non-reshoots when you're talking about that moment in the TARDIS, because you see the fact that the Doctor remembers in that scene because he winks at Ruby, and then when he's about to save everyone, about to save her,
I don't.
He doesn't.
No,
remember.
I think that I don't. I just think that was a wink.
You don't think
like,
that was
are you
anything?
okay? I don't.
But he was
think
smiling.
It was...
I totally think he remembered.
Yes, I know, but this is the Doctor smiled. I think again, this is your headcanon. I don't think this is the reshoots. I don't genuinely. I think the reshoots is. I don't think that's reshoots. I think that's original. Ruby was not back for the reshoots. I don't think. So the reshoots took 5 days. Was she?
I think she was, because that unit scene was part of the reshoots. It was in Doctor Who Unleashed. His final scene was reshoot.
Yeah, his final scene. Yeah. Okay, but I don't think the passing back and forth was part of the reshoots.
Passing back and forth of what? Sorry.
The coat.
No, that was original. That was the original ending. Yeah.
Yeah.
But so just as we sort of come to an end, though, just before we finish, I do like the fact that the gods have now been defeated.
Well, fucking genuinely, if there is another god,
yeah, I think it's good to put them to bed.
I'm so close
now.
to being done with Doctor. I don't. I've got it fucking tattooed on me, but I'm so close to being done with Doctor Who.
Because I think that it's nice to me in my head to think that Ncuti was the Doctor that fought the gods, and that's what he was there for.
Never once saw a Dalek / Cyberman.
Yeah, and he was in his own
never
little
once
pocket.
actually defeated any of the big bads. Yeah. One of them, Sutek.
Sutek, but he's not classed as a big bad.
He defeated Sutek.
But I think that
the Rani got ate by a fetus.
Yeah, I think this the wrap up of the gods is that, like, it's about time now, and that
bloody time. Other scenes to talk about.
Yeah.
Jodie.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, it's part of the regeneration.
Nice.
But we can go there.
It was nice to see. Was it part of...
It's part of the reshoots.
Oh, sorry. Oh, reshoots. I thought you meant like we get onto the regeneration scene. Like bloody hell already.
Yeah, well, it's part of the reshoots, wasn't it?
So he goes. So he regenerates because he goes. Well, Ruby says Poppy is a person, and if she is a person, then I'm gonna save myself for this one child.
Sacrifice himself for one child, yeah.
Sacrifice himself for one child, yeah. Do we think it would have worked a lot better if he was never the Doctor's daughter? Like, there wasn't a chance of her being a Time Lord? Because to me, it came across like if it was just a child,
the
Doctor saved himself to save a child, that would have been so... But he clearly does it out of selfishness when he goes to Ruby saying, she was my daughter, and that's when he runs off.
But he's also doing it for Belinda, really, because it's not really...
Dan, let's be real. If that child is his, she's a Time Lord. That's why she's doing it. That's why he's doing it.
Yeah. So then...
I think it would have worked so much better if she was just like, I don't know, Ruby's child or someone else's.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And it wasn't quite involved with the Doctor, because then it does become more of a selfish act, I suppose. But it's still selfless. It's still a selfless thing to do.
Well, yeah, no, well,
doesn't take that away.
It's selfless after we know she's fully human. You
Like,
see what I mean?
It's sort of like a kind of like...
It's not the Doctor sacrificing himself to save one life of a child. It's the Doctor sacrificing himself to save the life of someone who he thinks is his daughter.
yeah.
Which, quite frankly, anyone would do.
Yeah. I kind of see what you mean now, because it becomes...
But if it was...
When you
if
put
it
the
was
parenthood
just
thing
a
in
child,
there, yeah, when you put
Exactly,
parenthood in
yeah.
it does change it slightly, where it's like, okay, well, he would do this for anyone's daughter. Well, no, he wouldn't do this for anyone's daughter, but because it's his daughter, he's going to go and do it and sacrifice
where if
himself
it
and
was just...
maybe destroy the timeline while he's at it.
Sacrifice himself! No, you can't! There must be another way!
But I think, like, because in that scene with Jodie, he's talking about how he might screw over everything, and if he does, then, you know, is Jodie there to stop him?
Well, no. But
No, but that's what he says,
Yeah,
though.
sorry.
He says, "Are you here to stop me?"
oh yeah,
Is what I'm talking about. So maybe there is more of an element of selfishness to it than I first thought. But yeah, it's still a very it's a very Doctor thing to do anyway, isn't it? To go out
yeah, it's very Doctor
saving one person.
to save the one person. It's
Yeah.
very Doctor. I mean, look, he did it with Will. That worked the best when like he defeated the big bad.
Yeah.
But he had to do it because of Will. That was the best.
I mean, how did you feel about Jodie's scene in the episode?
I didn't have that spoiled for me. That was nice.
Yeah, I got quite excited. I did sit up at the front of the bed, and I did think
I quite like the. I'm surprised it's not the other guy. He's always showing up.
that
That
is
was quite
very funny. Yeah, that was good.
Good line from you there, Russ.
I think that she's
Um,
written really well. She's got a really good energy. I think that worked well here.
But was that just the Doctor's energy? Like, I've not gone back and rewatched. Have we just been a bit too harsh on her?
I think that there are. I think sometimes it's what she's saying mixed with that energy, because I think the energy's good here, but she's also being very serious. And then if you take it into account, like some of the lines that she's had in Chibnall's era, where she's like running around shouting "fam" and stuff like that, I think
Oh God, yeah.
you know
no, don't
you
remind
kind
me.
of have that like weird sort of that tonality
She
goes
had-
a bit too far for me.
So, do you think Russell would have worked better if he wrote for Jodie?
It's really hard to tell. I think he handled that scene well, but it is one scene. It's like writing Time Crash. Who's to say that
Yeah.
Moffat could write the Fifth Doctor over and over again? Like, he couldn't write the Fifth Doctor full time. He's done a scene of it, and I imagine Chibnall probably read it too. You know,
I don't think so.
I would imagine so. I imagine, because obviously they're all friends. You know, Moffat read the scripts because of the Time Hotel. I would not put it past Russell to send Chris the scripts with his Doctor. They would definitely have to get his sign off.
Yeah, maybe his scene. Yeah.
Just that scene, but it would definitely have to get the sign off. But I really liked that scene. It's a nice little welcome thing. Although I don't think it was massive. Like, I don't think it was important. I think it was just like that nice moment where, because we never saw Ncuti and Jodie
Is
interact
this now
or share the script.
technically a multi-Doctor story?
Yes.
Is
In the same way that you
Story
class Story of
in
the
the
Engine
Engine
one. Yeah, like it works the same way.
technically a multi-Doctor story?
I would say no, though, because now I think about it, she's not actually there. That is more of a perception that that lady sees a different Doctor, less than Ncuti actually changing.
But this one is a multi-Doctor story.
But yeah, this one probably leans more into it. If you want to be like that,
Is
then
it-
yeah.
Kind of showed that, like, yeah, we're the main Doctors. Like, the 14th Doctor isn't really a Doctor. Like,
Yeah.
it should have gone from me to you. We are the Doctors.
Yeah, there was a
I'm
blip
passing
in the middle.
baton
Yeah,
over. Yeah, there's a weird blip, and now there's another weird blip. Who knows what the fuck is going to happen?
But I think with that scene though, it's like a prepping himself for his end, which I like, because normally you might have that sort of regeneration,
I'll prep myself for his end.
that passing the baton sort of thing in the regeneration scene, but this way we kind of had it the other way around.
If anyone heard that.
I heard it, I ignored it.
Oh.
Right, well, I think we've actually got to the regeneration. I have to say though,
Yeah.
I am pretty devastated by the loss of this Doctor.
I know you were crying on your review.
I would say I was crying. I definitely wasn't crying.
Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is?
What?
He's not had. Why do I still feel like Eccleston had more?
I think Eccleston's regeneration was put into the script earlier, basically.
No, but Eccleston's doctor, I felt like I knew him more.
Yeah, because they had a bit more time to sort of sew in an arc a little bit more into. Obviously, he had more episodes, but I think
He didn't have more episodes. I think.
Okay, he had more
so
consistent
8,
episodes.
No, let's work this out.
I don't want to.
And this is ones where Ncuti is in, like fully in. Right. Okay. So
Space
Church
Babies.
Movie Road.
Yeah.
Space Babies.
Devil's Cord. Boom.
Boom.
We'll skip 73 yards and Dot and Bubble,
Yeah,
shall we?
Yes.
Rogue.
Yeah.
And then the 2-part finale.
Yep.
Joy to the World. Robot Revolution.
Yep.
Lux. The Well.
Yep.
The fuck it. What's next? Story in the Engine.
Story in the Engine.
Interstellar Song Contest. 2-part finale.
Already done. He's done more. Yeah. So he's done 2 episodes more.
So like 15. Yeah.
Yeah. He's done 15. Oh my god! The 15th Doctor did 15 episodes.
Well, he was
That's
in
crazy.
more than 15, but you know what I mean. Yeah, he had 15 episodes that he was full time going on. But I have been absolutely devastated by his loss. I think it's just because it feels like he shouldn't have left when he did, and that's the thing that kind of hurts.
Because also we know he wasn't meant to leave, and like something's gone on. And I think we don't blame Ncuti at all.
No.
Get that bag, King. Something is clearly going on behind the scenes that you're like, I'm not fucking waiting around. I'm having people offer me work left, right, and centre. I like, as much as I love Doctor Who, I can't stay on just in case like Disney go, yep, we can do it. I then have to cancel other jobs and spend 4 months filming Doctor. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's more than 4 months. It must be. But yeah, I see what you mean entirely. Like he can't tie himself down to a series that he doesn't know is going to actually film this year. But I think that he for what they had to work with, his sort of final moments are really sweet, though, don't you think?
Oh no, that final scene is beautiful.
Yeah.
The light shutting off, it feels like the end of an era.
Yeah, definitely.
And that can either be a good thing or a bad thing.
And I love his final lines, like this has been a joy. And stuff like that.
He's clearly that's him talking, not the Doctor.
Yeah, I like it when doctors do that, and I think there's also that thing of.
I mean, the same thing happened with Jodie, didn't it? When they're like, "Oh, I wish I had more time."
Yeah.
And she says, "We all do."
Mm.
Like, because clearly, like that, both their runs got cut short.
Yeah, and also I'm a sucker for lines that are like, "You'll see me again, but not with this face," and stuff like that. I just think that he delivers them with such gravitas, and I think that also kind of also because we didn't know it was going to happen. Like with other Doctors, you kind of can lead up to going, this is going to be his final one, but then with Ncuti, we weren't sure, so it kind of hit me a bit harder.
We knew.
I think it was speculation, but it was more like of a hope that we wouldn't actually see it, that it wouldn't happen.
Yeah,
but it was.
Anyway, should we talk about?
He's going to be massively missed.
Yeah, massively missed. It's Billie Piper.
It's Billie
Let's
Piper,
talk about the future of Doctor Who. She's the future Doctor Who. However, she's not credited as the Doctor, so we've got.
Yeah, it is worth saying that.
Anyway,
like, we're not actually sure.
Anyone who listens,
and no one
who listens to this pod are Doctor Who fans, and they've all seen it all. Right. Let's just talk about the future of the show and what is going to fucking happen.
Right.
Disney are not renewing.
Unconfirmed,
right.
But yeah, basically.
Will have egg all over their face if they renew. Disney are not renewing, right? We've got a spin-off coming up, The War Between the Land and the Sea.
Yeah.
Either way, sorry. That was the worst time to release the trailer. Fuck me.
It would, you see, if he didn't regenerate, this feels like a really weird relic of what was left behind now.
Yeah.
And I
It
think
was the worst time from
Yeah.
the trailer where everyone's like even the casual viewer, like I've had people message me going, "Oh my god, I can't believe Billy's back or Billy's the next Doctor." I had just people who just tuned in, and they were like, "Well, what's happening? What's happening?" And then you show Barclay's bank trying to have sex with a fish. Do you know what I mean?
you show The Shape of Water. but
Worst
yeah.
time.
Yeah.
First time to release the trailer.
I mean,
Anyway.
I'm quite excited for what
Um,
this could be because it looks pretty good, but I think it will not
yeah, I'm
appeal to a
excited,
lot
but
of people.
also, I'm fed up of Unit. Oh my god!
Really, I think that Lucky
No,
Day opened the door for more
Kate's
Unit.
good. I don't care. I don't care about this romance of Ibrahim. Stop that. It's shit.
It's perfectly
Don't
fine.
like the whole like revolving fucking like side members.
Right.
Like you have Morris one day, then you have Rose, and who isn't there when they do the reshoots. Do you know what I mean? Like the thing that worked with Unit in the classic days was you had your three main. You had your Brigadier and the two others. I can't remember the names, but damn, who are they?
You're thinking of Richard Franklin, who played Mike Yates, and you're thinking probably of Sergeant Benton.
Yes, Benton, that's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
you had your three people and they were Unit. You had your little soldiers running around, but now you've got your whole your scientific advisor, your technical guy, your medical guy, you've got 10 people. And I don't care. Shirley Bingham, who she's great. Don't get me wrong, they're great. None of them are bad, but it's just you don't have a core Unit team. They're always revolving.
And then Shirley wasn't in last year's finale, was she?
Shirley.
No, because Morris was there instead.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah. You want them to have a consistent unit. You can open the door with new people, but you need to have fundamentals there all the time.
And now you've got Ruby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also in Land of the Sea.
As well to the end, Anita, do you want a job? Stop offering people jobs.
Do you think that there will be a thing of do you think we're going to see Ruby, and do you think we're going to see Rose and whatever in Looked in the Light? Because I just feel like tonally, the way that is shot and the way that looks would not fit some of these characters.
Shirley.
Yeah, Shirley is in it. We might see Mel. I wouldn't be surprised.
No, I don't think we'll see Mel.
I think if it is, it will be in a cameo.
Can I be honest? I think Pete Mukhtai, that he's writing it, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Is he writing it?
He is. All 5.
Yep. He is going to try to keep it as far away from the main show as possible.
I think, definitely give it its own identity for sure.
I don't think it's going to have Mel. I think the only is going to be Kate, Ibrahim, and Shirley. I think that's it, to be honest.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a cameo for someone.
We get the Vlinx? I don't know.
I hope we have the Vlinx, otherwise what's the point of him?
I love the Vlinx.
Love the Vlinx.
It keeps Nick Briggs on the payroll. Actually, who he also voiced Omega, so he's on the payroll. Anyway.
It is quite funny to me that we have sort of taken the Vlinx into our hearts, even in a slightly sarcastic way. Of like when that box blew up in Reality War, I did kind of go, "Oh, it's the Vlinx! He's back!" that.
Nice. Right, okay, back to the future of the show.
Yeah. It's the first time in a long time that we've been in a sort of limbo.
Honestly, it needs. Well, we're going to get a special through the BBC to deal with Billy Piper, surely.
Yeah, probably. I can't imagine her doing a full-time thing.
It would be nice. Don't get me wrong.
Mm.
She'd be, if she is the Doctor, she'd be great. This is why I'm not mad. The only thing I'm mad about is how desperate it makes Doctor Who look.
Yeah, I think that's my big thing as well, and it's also that reliance on the past. In the same way, because there was somebody
of reliance on the past. I genuinely think if you're going to make Doctor Who good again,
yeah,
and I'm not doing this for the bit, get rid of Russell and get rid of that get rid of the trio of four.
You want to sack him?
I want to sack him. What you need, we need a new writer, and who personally isn't a fan of the show.
I think they do need to be a fan of the show.
No, they don't, because when a fan of the show comes in, we've had it with the last three. They want to make law. They want to do the law. They want to do this. They want to.
No, I agree with that.
Change Gallifrey. They want.
Yeah.
We just need black and white Doctor Who to get people back again. What made the revival 2005 so good is it was just black and white Doctor Who.
I think it just needs to go back to basics, is what we're saying here, really.
Very casual returning villains. And when the Master came back, it was one of the biggest ones from Classic Who.
Yeah.
Like, anyone knew the Master.
Because I think, like, when we first watched, like, the Master and the Cybermen and the Daleks come on, they felt huge.
I didn't know who they were.
Yeah, and we didn't know who they were, so we had no past about
But I
them.
knew he was important from people's reactions.
Yeah, and
the setup.
And the setup.
Also,
of it, yeah.
what worked for us as well was it had the setup through the season, like the Yana best reveal ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no matter what, we knew that was important because of the writing, because of how Russell wrote it. But now
it massively relies on you essentially doing your homework. And like you say about changing the law and stuff like this,
Russell
it's like
says,
you don't need this.
We are going to revive the show. We're going to reboot the show. It's going to be a fresh new thing on everything. Brings back Omega, brings back Sutek, brings back the first ever companion, brings back. How is this for new audiences?
Mm.
I know we've all said it, but how is it for new audiences?
Yeah.
So that's why I think it needs to not be a fan of the show. Someone who just has a basic understanding of the show.
I think it does. I see what you mean by not a fan of the show, because they're right Doctor Who. Someone did it in the classic one, who wasn't a fan but just took over. And was it when it started to get good at the end of thingy? I'm not entirely sure what you're talking about, I'm afraid, but I would agree with you that you need somebody that will sort of see Doctor Who and be like, I don't want to reinvent the wheel here. Is that what you? That's kind of what you're after with somebody that hasn't. We don't want lore drops. I'm fed up of. Yeah. Oh, I want some fucking Daleks. I want a fucking Cyberman. I just want the Doctor to be the Doctor and have a companion in time and space, going on little zany adventures. That's all. That's all we want. I think. Would you? Give us a fucking base under siege, please. That's all I'm asking for. We got that. We got that. We did get this series, to be fair. Where? When? The Well. The best episode. Anything else? Yeah. Well, you got it once. I mean, do you want me to say that Lucky Day is technically a base under siege at one point? No, no, but it's not a base. It's the base. Yeah, but I see what you mean. Before the flood, is it? No, I do see what you mean. I do think that you are on the right level somewhere. I just think, and I think this show just needs to go on a big long break. So well, it probably will be going on a bit of a break, which is good. Although at the same time, I am a bit like, I kind of want to keep the train rolling somehow, because I think it's not going to happen. I mean, if you left it open ended and said, you know, that Doctor Who's going to be back in, let's say, 2 years, then you'd be like, okay, that's no problem at all. But then now that you're adding in Billy Piper, when do you think is the earliest we will see a new Doctor Who episode? I think like 2 years. So like 2027. The earliest. We're not going to get anything this year. War Between Land and the Sea will get pushed to next year, and will probably be. I mean, a lot of people are saying if we could possibly get a Christmas special for next year. Who knows? Possible. Yeah, that is possible. But they'd have to film it in about 6 months or so, really. Look, for an hour episode, you could do that. But I think that could be a possibility. But then the thing with adding Billy instead of just leaving the regeneration open ended, because I'd much rather it was left open ended, is that it suggests that we're coming back very soon, and it suggests that this isn't over. Like when I was in McDonald's on Sunday,
it doesn't, because the leak says that Russell. Well, it was just like I don't.
I mean, do you think Russell knows what he's doing? Do you think he has an idea here, or is it just like I'll put this in here for now?
No. Yep.
That's what I'd much rather it was left.
Ideas in his head.
Yeah.
But there's no story.
Yeah.
There's nothing written down. He's just gone, oh yes, that will work. Please come back. Yeah. Please come back. Yeah. That was so funny. That reminds me of please. Do you remember the last series on Legend of Ruby Sunday when he did his little interview on Unleashed? And he just goes, "There's so much in this finale. Please come back. Please come back." It was so.
I don't. But it rings a bell.
Begging you to watch it again. It's like that's all you need. With a doctor, just please come back. Please come back.
I think that so that's kind of what I don't like about the whole Billy thing. It's not that it's Billy, it's that it's not going to actually be resolved, and with the track record we've had, if that resolution is even somewhat competent, then we should be happy.
Do you know what I'm annoyed about?
What's that?
And I know we were talking about the future of Doctor Who, but the fact I don't like Russell's new style of writing. How he said that Mavity is just a joke and you have to accept it.
I think this goes back to what we were talking about a while ago with the idea that
wall breaking is just something that the show does now.
Yeah. I think when we were talking about it with the idea that like you need to pay attention with what's going on and like pick up on these details, but at the same time, don't pick up on all of the details because we're not going to explain them.
Doctor Who does that now. Come on, get with the times. Yeah.
No, I agree. I think that we would have just been a lot better off to leave it open ended. But I mean, as we're talking about,
do you think if we left it open ended, even the BBC would go, "Oh, well, yeah, no, you're all right." But now there's Billy, the BBC. See, there's two sides to every story.
Yeah, no, maybe it was a sort of like a placeholder kind of thing where it's like we need to put something
desperate. There. No, 100%, it's desperate.
Yeah,
because it was meant to end like that, and it's desperate. Like BBC, Billy Clerk went, "Go on here, I'll do it," and they go, "Right, get her in, come on, save the show."
Obviously, I presume there's not much of an idea of actually why that's been done, which is the thing that annoys me. Because if that is it, and that's the run we're going to get for the next decade, then
I'll be honest,
then it does suck.
What I'm more annoyed with, I don't know when. I want a press release. I don't want a Russell press release. I want an honest fucking press release about what is going on with the show.
Yeah, me too. I think we're going to get that in a couple of weeks. We surely are due that.
I don't want Russell going, "Everything is okay. It's all fine. We're working good." No, it's not. Be honest. You've lost the streaming rights with Disney. They're not interested. I think the next time we have a press release is when they put something out going, after 2 years of working with Disney Plus, they've decided they no longer want to continue. But do you know what I mean? That's the next time we'll get a press release.
I don't think
we'll get anything for Billy for a long time.
No, but I would like to know what's actually going on, and that's why it feels like we're in a hiatus, because it feels like we've been given an ending that isn't an ending, and is then sort of saying that there's more, but there's no commission of more. There's no understanding that it's on the cards even.
If it ended with an open regeneration, I would have accepted a hiatus. It's fine.
Yeah.
The show needed it.
Yeah.
We were saying at the end of last season, is it time to pause the show? Right?
Yeah. I mean,
now you've got Billy. I'm like, I want answers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you know? But then I feel like if we get the answers and they're shit, Doctor Who is dead.
Because then we're in another issue where it's like, okay, maybe it needs a rest again because now that's been done, or is it
because now that's gone on and it's bad? It's going to be an endless cycle of get David Tennant back.
It's that desperation of it as well that you talked about, where it's like we can't I mean, I suppose they haven't got another actor, which is probably why Billy's there. But even then, when I was in McDonald's the other day and some people were talking about it, they weren't going, I must watch that because Billy Piper's in it. They're thinking, what on earth are they doing? Why are they doing that? It's not making people watch. It's probably having the opposite effect. And for us,
even if
it's going to tarnish what we've known.
Just got a big name celebrity, right? A big name celebrity who would have exclusively done comic books in Doctor Who magazine and Big Finish.
Or you could have even had Richard E. Grant.
I would have. Yeah, I would have been. Or like, I don't know why, but Phoebe Waller-Bridge came to my mind. If you just had her go, "Wow," and stare at the camera, do you know what I mean? Like, just then there's someone that the fans can go, okay, they're now the Doctor, but I don't expect to see them for a long time because Doctor Who's over. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
the fact it's Billy and she's been in the show before, it's like, this has got to happen now. We need to know what's happening.
Yeah, and we've got that contradiction again where we've got like sort of the publicists of like the Sun or whatever, newspapers are saying that she's 16. Apart from the show itself, Russell, Billy Piper herself are not actually calling themselves the 16th Doctor. And that's kind of the thing that I don't like, because now we're even deeper
Andrew,
to the limbo.
who correctly leaked the entirety of season 2. Did you read his leaks?
I didn't read any of the leaks. No.
Okay, no, I did. He was bang on. We need him to leak what the fuck is going on. And when I mean that, I don't mean people on Reddit going, I've spoken to Andrew. I need a post by Andrew.
So, Will, before we finish, can you give me your ratings, dare I even say it, for Wishworld and the Reality War?
Wishworld, 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Reality War, 3 out of 10.
For me, I've gone with 2 5s. That I've gone right in the middle for both of them, because I think Wishworld is probably better, but I think that part 2 is required, and that also lessens part 1. And then obviously,
it's just like last season.
Yeah,
just like last season.
yeah. And then
Legend of Ruby Sunday was a 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
and then Empire was a 2 out of 10.
And then I think that then this Reality War kind of felt very middle of the road. But there's bits I really like, and there's bits I'm going to rewatch in the future.
However,
and enjoy. But
I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
Empire Death was better than Reality War.
I was about to ask you that question. Really? I don't think so. I don't think there's any guffs like that.
The only thing that truly let down Empire of Death was the whole Ruby's mum reveal. It's a good episode. The Sutek's a bit underused compared to Omega. Omega. He's got plenty of screen time. The only thing that's shit is the whole Ruby's mum thing. That's what ruins the episode.
That's interesting.
But apart from that, it's an okay episode. It's better than Reality War. It knows what's happening, but then that's because there wasn't reshoots. So the reshoots massively let down this episode.
Definitely. Right. Will, we've been talking for 2 hours about this.
It has felt like it.
Yeah.
Have fun cutting it down, mate.
Do you feel better now that you've expressed all of this?
No.
Like a sense of therapy.
I want answers.
Oh, well, we're going to have to wait till 2027 to get them, if we do at all. I know it'd be really embarrassing that by the time this podcast comes out, that we've had confirmation of the cancellation. Or something like there's now a longer hiatus in place.
The day it goes out is Doctor Who will be going on pause for quite a while.
It's like, yeah, we're not coming back for like the next 4 years.
For a new Blue Peter listener to bring it back.
That's anything is possible, which is just a little bit Romeo a bit, but hey,
you could bring it back. You wrote some.
No, I've seen this quite a few times. The best way to describe a lot of what Russell's done is what I think a lot of fan fiction is like.
Oh, 100%. Russell is writing fan fiction.
because it's like, oh,
And that's why I'm saying it. And that's why I'm saying we shouldn't have a fan of the show.
oh, okay.
We should bring in a good writer.
Writer over Doctor Who fan.
Yeah. Because no matter what, you bring in a fan and they're going to write fan fiction. Oh, I'd be great. I'd be great.
I feel like you would just remove everything that you didn't like from previous seasons.
Yes. This is going to be a new pod episode. What we do if we were showrunners.
Yeah.
I'll give you a little teaser now. My doctor regenerates, and hears someone say the word Mavity. He runs straight to the TARDIS, flies back to Isaac Newton, and goes, "I said gravity, gravity." Flies back and said, "Sorry, what did you say? The gravity." Okay, yeah, I fixed it.
Yeah, job done.
That's.
He'd pay off to the Mavity crap. I was actually listening to one of the books today, one of the new 15th Doctor books, and there's Mavity in there. Again, gravity comes up, and they call it Mavity, and I'm like, what is the thing here?
Did you not see? Russell just said it's a joke, and that's what happens.
It's just a joke.
Russell is a joke, and it's funny. This is what I mean.
It's not funny though. I didn't laugh at it. I laughed at it maybe twice, but like in the Interstellar Song Contest, they do it like 5 times.
Like after it happened, and then it got mentioned in Church of Road, I was like, oh, Mavity. Now I'm fed up of it.
Well,
Fed up.
Well, we've come to the end. We've come to the end.
We'll see you in the new podcast where we talk about what we'd do if we were showrunner, and that'll be coming very, very soon, just like Doctor Who.
Yeah, 2027. So, thank you very much for listening.
It's the fact it didn't even say Doctor Who will return. That's what I got a bit annoyed about.
Yeah.
Even after the regeneration.
Yes. So thank you very much for listening. I have a new series of podcast episodes coming out this month and into next month. So you'll have them to listen to. Yeah, sorry, Will. I have told you about this, but you've obviously forgotten.
Get that quiet, you bitch.
I filmed them in January. So you have a couple of episodes to kind of end off the post-Doctor Who depression, I suppose.
Would you like to say goodbye?
Yes.
James, give us a
Are we bringing James in?
Out of 10 more. For Reality War.
4 out of 10.
How did you feel about Ncuti's tenure as the Doctor?
Wasted.
Ooh.
Well, very good. He's definitely coming back on.
He can come back. He can come back.
You think that they should sack Russell T Davies, sack Jane Tranter, sack Julie Gardner, and sack Phil Collinson?
That's how I feel about this podcast.
Sack Will Parker, then I'll come back. Okay, right, I'm sacked.
It was sacked. This is how we end the podcast. Goodbye.
Bye.
I'm back in this room again, sadly, because I was unable to find more friends. Now that we've finished guessing Doctor Who monsters, what we're going to do is we're going to just ploy me with insults. Do you think you're going to win this time?
No.
Luke, do you feel like you're going to win this time?
Yes, self-confidence and all.
So I like that. You're manifesting the win.
What do I look like with a wig?
You with a wig.
I'll take that, skinny pig.
I like the idea that T's gone, well, in the apocalypse, at least I've gone from a 7 to a 9.